Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest on the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to Apply. All right, so today is a very special episode. This is part of our Asia Summit series where we bring you the best of those who attended, participated in the Asia Summit series hosted by the Milken Institute over in Singapore, which we were fortunate enough to be covering. And let me tell you, it was my first year going to that, and it's going to be on my schedule every year. I absolutely had a great time, and I met amazing people, and we've been doing some great interviews. And speaking of great guests, I have my next one on the line. So Nicholas Tabardel, and he is the managing partner over at ATUM Ventures. Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Hi, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I guess just to get us kicked off here, as you just now heard, the Asia Summit, that was my first year out there. Actually, this is my first time out to Singapore, and I absolutely loved it. It was a lot of fun. Great food, great meetings, great connections, great conference. And then F1 was there, as you're aware, during the same time, which that was also a lot of fun. So, Nicholas, let's start here. Your connection to the conference, have you been to one before? Was this your first Milken conference? Maybe let's start there.
Yes, I've been connected to Milken for many years. I've attended lots of conferences. It's always super interesting to attend these conferences and meet everyone in the same place. The Singapore event is smaller than the US one, but it's always a good crowd.
Yeah, I agree. And the global conference in Beverly Hills, we've been covering that now maybe for like 3 or 4 years now. I can't remember the exact amount, but let's call it 4 years now. And so this was my first time kind of going out to one of the other events. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. I'm curious. So you've been connected to the Institute, as you mentioned, for a long time. You've been to a lot of events. What keeps you coming back? What do you feel is so special about like this community that the conference brings?
I think it's a lot of interesting people from all over the world who do important work, and they're the movers and shakers in our
Yeah.
industry, right? So you hear the right ideas, you can make the right connections with
Hmm.
partners, with customers, with investors.
Hmm.
And it's always a good occasion to take the temperature and see what people are talking about, what the panels are about,
Mm.
and what people are not talking about.
Hmm. Yeah, love it. And I agree with you, by the way. That's to me, the global conference in Beverly Hills, I always call that, I'm like, that's my Super Bowl. That kind of sets up like, okay, what's next for me at least in my content and what's going to happen next, what kind of stories maybe I want to cover and things like that too. You're right. It does do that. I want to switch it up a bit here. I do want to get into ATUM Ventures, which is a deep tech venture builder firm. But before we do that, maybe let's go take it a step back, maybe 1 or 2 steps, and get a little bit into your background. Like how'd you go into business and how'd you get into tech?
Yeah, so it's a long story, but I'll try to sum up in a few minutes. You can hear from my accent, I'm originally from France. I grew up in a small village near Bordeaux. I had no idea I was going to end up doing deep tech venture building in Singapore. Originally, I was pretty good at math. I thought I was going to be involved in mathematics and research. So I studied engineering. And while I was studying engineering, I actually discovered finance and option pricing.
Mm,
It was using the same equations that I was working on, but it looked a lot more exciting than other applications. And
mm,
so I went to work as a quant and a trader in London. So I did that for many years. I worked at Citibank and Deutsche Bank in London trading inflation-linked derivatives. And that was really exciting. And I made some really good money. Uh,
hmm.
that got me independence, I think. Not
Yeah.
enough to do nothing, but enough to think really hard about what I wanted to do with my life. And during that time, I met my wife, and my wife's family runs a large company in Indonesia. And so at some point, we decided that we would be better based in Singapore. We made the move. It's a great place to raise a family.
Mm,
And so I, decided to help my wife with setting up a family office to manage family investments. And through that, I got connected with Milken. I also got connected with Iconic, and I started investing in tech. And, I got lucky. I made some very good investments in the US in tech and healthcare. And I also wanted to become more hands-on
Mm-hmm.
and do something. Yeah, I saw the switch to deep tech, and I wanted to do something where I could be more operationally involved.
Mm.
So that's when we set up ATUM Ventures, which originally was called Singapore Deep Tech Alliance, and that we
Mm.
just rebranded as ATUM Ventures.
Yeah.
So this is a venture builder. We build companies from the ground up, and we focus on building companies in deep tech in Singapore for global markets.
Taking a step further, I don't want to assume everybody understands what a venture builder is. So maybe compare, juxtapose maybe kind of like your model to maybe some of the other routes you could have went. Like that'd probably be helpful.
Yeah, so maybe you can compare a venture builder to an incubator. That would be the
Hmm.
closest.
Yeah.
And to maybe everybody, I think, is familiar with Y Combinator,
Yeah,
the
for sure.
most successful incubator of all time.
Mm.
And in an incubator, you find great people, you pour a lot of coffee, and they have to come up with ideas, and you help them with that, and you give them some funding, and you make some introductions. But it's mostly up to these people to come up with some idea.
Yeah.
A venture builder, on the other hand, it's a lot more hands-on, and it's a bit more like being a repeat founder, uh,
Hmm.
in the sense that we go and look for problems to solve or technologies that we think have commercial potential. So we work
Mm.
with research institutes and universities and find good technologies. We do due diligence on the technology. We do commercial due diligence to see if they have potential. And then we also have corporate partners who we can ask if they will do a proof of concept of a product. Uh,
Mm.
and so we build a business case. And when we have a business case and we fund it and we bring in people
Hmm.
who are going to be the founders of the company, and they get the majority of the equity, and we continue working with them and helping them with their business plan and with raising money, and
Hmm.
it's a success.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that model, by the way. And the reason is because I feel like once you, as you said, it's like being a founder over and over and over again, but bringing in the people to kind of do the execution side of it, because I feel like you get to leverage your network, you get to leverage maybe some processes and maybe even companies, depending on how big the portfolio is, that will complement each other for certain things, and possibly even staff after, depending. Am I off on that? I just want to make sure my understanding is correct.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. If
Mm.
you had an idea to start a company, most likely you're going to screw it up on your own, right? Because the
I
first time
like how
you
you
do
say
it,
that, and it's true. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, but that's reality.
That is
And
reality. Go
and
ahead, please.
and and for bad reasons.
Hmm.
There's good reasons why some project would not work, right? Sometimes
Hmm.
you do risky things and they don't work out because the tech doesn't work, or
Yeah.
the market is not ready, or like these are okay reasons to fail. But there's a million other things that
Yeah.
you can get wrong. And that's, how do I set up my company? Are my legal documents, properly done?
Hmm.
How do I make a business plan? How do I go about raising money? What's the difference between a safe, a convertible, an equity round? Like a lot of first time founders don't know this and make
Hmm.
mistakes or waste a lot of time that they could
Yeah.
spend on product. And we take care of a lot of these things because it's the 20th company that we've started.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of things that we know how to do efficiently and what's right and wrong.
Yeah, I'll just speak for my network. If there's a founder out there that disagrees with this, put it in the comments. But I feel like no founder's like, oh, I want to go start a company so I can master legal documents and like I can master the legal, the accounting, and the supply chain, like, or how to raise capital like that. Unless that's what you wanted your business to be, then that is, I don't want to say a necessary evil. It's a lifeblood of the business, right? Capital. But I mean, it's not usually what you're going to get in entrepreneurship with. So I can learn how to be on this this roller coaster of raising capital. I don't think that's what they go into it for. At least I haven't seen many. So if some of that can be some of the weight of that, those items can be kind of the weight taken off the shoulders of the entrepreneur. Like you said, they get to focus on product. They get to focus on doing what they actually wanted to do and growing the business. So I think it's wonderful. Nicholas, how do you, and I know this is going to vary, of course, but I'm just curious, even if you just want to share kind of like your ideology, but how do you decide what ideas you're going to move forward with?
That's a good
I know
question.
that's a big one, and I don't expect, I know it's not a one size fit all, but maybe even if you can go through just the logic you go through when it comes to like, okay, this is because the nature of, I mean, if you think to me, when I think about most entrepreneurs, you got 1,000 ideas. So, and you got to choose one eventually to start, building a company. So in your case, you can be presented with and have more than that, but you have to decide where you want to allocate, the next attention to go because there's only so much attention, right? How do you decide what to move forward with?
Yeah, I think we want to work on deep tech so projects that are going to have a positive impact on the world
Mm,
and solving complex challenges, right? The world doesn't need another app to order pizza at 3 a.m.
mm-hmm,
We need to tackle more important problems. And, so we focus on things like we need clean, abundant energy. Uh,
mm-hmm,
we need advanced manufacturing to create an abundance of goods and services. We want to work on AI, of course, and we want to work on healthcare.
mm,
So these things will, there are big problems to solve in all these sectors. And if we create a lot of value by solving important problems, I think we will have a financial success as well. So solving an important problem is key. The solution needs to be not marginally higher, not 2 times better. It needs to be 10 times better than what's out,
mm-hmm.
right? It needs to be not too capital intensive. So, and that's the difficulty. We want to do deep tech, but we don't want to do the type of deep tech where you have to invest 100 million and 15 years in R&D to see the outcome. We
Mm,
need projects where with a few million, we can get a proof of concept, de-risk the project and raise the next round and see progress, right?
mm-hmm.
But I would say the most important thing is going to be the people that we can find.
Yeah.
And do we want to work with these people? And are they A type, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are they excellent? Are they driven? Are they smart? Are they hardworking? Are they honest? And what's driving them?
Mm.
Because any way you do it, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. There's going to be good times, bad times. There's going to be lots
Yes.
of excitement, right? So you have to do it with people where you have good chemistry.
Yeah, that's great. What do you need to execute in your vision or to continue executing on your vision?
Well, what we need is to create an ecosystem that
Mm-hmm.
is already somewhat in place in Singapore. We just need to make it better, right?
Mm,
And the ecosystem is composed of research institutes where we find good intellectual property, ideas, and so on. We need also connections to research institutes. And we have good connections in Singapore. We have some connections in Asia.
mm-hmm.
We're looking for more. So in Europe, in the US, yeah, anywhere where good research is done, we'd like to talk to these people. We need more founders and excellent people who are going to run companies.
Mm,
We also work with corporate partners, and corporate partners can be members of our ecosystem, and that allows them to submit projects or problems that they want to solve. And we can
mm,
go source the technology and build companies based on their requirements. And we need capital. So we need capital to invest directly in our portfolio companies. We also need capital for investing in ATUM Ventures. And we've structured it in a way where investors can invest directly in the venture builder, in us as a company, or they can invest in our portfolio of companies
mm.
to get a diversified portfolio of new ventures. That's, I think, all the
Yeah.
pieces. And the most important piece is people, is finding good people,
Mm-hmm.
founders. So, if I'm thinking of people who are in Europe and want to be entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
and it is very difficult to be an entrepreneur in Europe, I think. Government and regulations will
Yeah.
make you crazy. There is a very funny X account making
Mm-hmm.
fun of that. And I think we have an ecosystem in Singapore where we actually have government agencies that are here to help you. And this changes the dynamic a lot. So we have a really good environment for people who want to create things here.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to learn more about it in Singapore too. So this is normally how we as a company, Nicholas, how we enter markets is, we're going in and we do a series based on, conferences and some other things. We cover, Milk and conference, of course, but then and their properties and then like FII and other things like that. So it's fun to go into new markets like this and to get for over time we get to and I'm happy to bring this content to my audiences. They also get to go into the new markets with us. So it's a lot of fun. That being said, though, Nicholas, how do people follow up? How do they connect with you? You mentioned some of the things that you're looking towards. How do people follow up?
Well, you can check our upcoming website on atomventures.com. So Atom
Mm,
is ATUM, and Atom is the Egyptian god of creation. We thought it would be
mm,
appropriate for a venture builder. My email is nicholas@atomventures.com.
mm.
Nicholas with no H.
Wonderful. For everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so you can go head right on over and connect. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Nicholas, thanks again for coming on.
Thanks. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Elam.